Okay, good morning. Welcome back in. June 5th, Friday safety focus of the week. Hope everybody is doing well. Today's weather is looking like a really nice day. There's some scattered showers to the south, Middlebury and south area. So stay dry down there, but looking like it's going to clear up and be a nice day. So let's take advantage. So this week's code of conduct is to maintain cleanliness and condition of vehicles and equipment. So it's very important, especially with our current climate regarding the virus, is to making sure that we are disinfecting our tools and equipment before others use it. So it's very important. It definitely highlights what was in the news yesterday and probably again today regarding what's going on in Winooski. So we're seeing a small outbreak in Winooski. So again, it's a reminder that we need to all follow best practices. And that is, again, staying home when you're sick, social distancing, maintaining good practices when it comes to cleaning and disinfecting our shared tools, following all of our protocols when you're visiting the tool crib, the offices, or other environments. If you can't maintain that 6 feet, wear a facial covering. Very, very important. And also following best personal hygiene, such as washing your hands or using hand sanitizing. So moving on, this week we're going to highlight confined space. We've made some improvements to our confined space program, so I wanted to kind of share that with everybody so everybody knows kind of how to access the new confined space permit form that we have developed. So in review, a confined space is large enough for an employee to enter. It has a limited means of entry or exit, and it's not designated for continuous occupancy. So what we're talking about those is kind of our sewer manholes or water vaults. And maybe it could be an electrical vault that's been de-energized that sometimes we have to go into from time to time. It's a lot of utility work that we do. Once in a while, we might go into crawl spaces and basements. We might go into bins or silos. We might be going into tanks or containers. These types of spaces have known hazards. And those hazards that we really need to make sure that we mitigate and control are our falls and our caught in between hazards. And the biggest one that has the most number of fatalities in confined space, and that is our atmospheric, our oxygen deficiency issues in these spaces. We also have other air issues such as carbon monoxide, our low explosive limits, which could potentially spark if we're doing hot work or any welding, grinding. We want to make sure there isn't any explosion type of vapors in our space. And then last is our hydrogen sulfide. So that's why it's very important that before we enter any of these spaces, we do some type of air monitoring. I got a little graph here that describes oxygen deficiency and how quickly it can be a very serious risk. Dangerous situation for us in these confined spaces. So we're always looking for that 21% oxygen. That's our natural air. That's what we're all breathing here currently. When we get into some of these spaces, we see a drop in it where we might see 16 to 12%, 14 to 9%. And you're starting to see there's some serious conditions, and this stuff happens in minutes, not hours. So it's very, very, very important before you even think about entering a space. You make sure that you grab a 4-gas meter, call up health and safety. We'll leave everything aside for you and come out and grab that and perform that monitoring before you enter in these spaces. So the update to our program, again, is to maintain best practices regarding to the virus is call ahead. Try to always call ahead so you can just pick up so you don't have to have a lot of face-to-face contact throughout the tool crib or in health and safety. So call ahead. We'll set aside your air blower, your retrieval system, your harness, and the 4-gas meter for you. And what we've also done is we've digitalized the confined space form, and it's now available in your team. So all foremen and crew leaders that are on here, I'll show you how to access it. It's in the exact same location that we have the JHAs located. So if you can see my screen here, get the foreman supervisors channel, you go under general, then you go under files. here's all the files. This is the new library that we're creating to have access to the field to get these forms. We're going to talk more about our utility strikes form and all these other forms. But if you go down here under confined space, you click it. This link will come up. You click this link. It's going to load you into your Google Chrome because it's a web-based form. So you can have this form open all the time. If you minimize it or you click on your tablet to go back to your home screen, all you have to do is then, go back to your Google Chrome key or button, and it'll go back up. So I'm going to quickly just run through this form. It's very, very easy. We made it super simple. So I'm going to say that I'm going in. We're doing this. We're gonna do this over at 98 Engineers Drive. We're going to go inside a container, or we'll say the vac truck. Fix the vac truck with Pat Wells. We made this little quick kiosk here, so it pretty much supersets to the date and time that you fill it out. Makes it really handy and simple. We're gonna the supervisor for this will be Ken. Planned duration of work, 2 hours, rough give or take. Site emergency contact number, we're going to use 911. Ken, you're the super, so I'm going to sign you quick, really easy. Since I'm going in, I understand that I'm going in and I've been trained, and this form that we filled out kind of goes through a lot of the training. It goes through our pre-entry checklist like we always have. So this is considered a non-permit issue. It is not deeper than 5 feet, so we do not need a required retrieval system at this time. We do need safe means of entry, so we are going to use a ladder. Positive blower, we are going to be doing some hot work in there, so we're going to set that up. We're not going to worry about any of these sewers, but when we do, we want to make sure they're continually monitoring and also supplying fresh air. We do worry about oxygen efficiency, of course. We are worried about some maybe flame or toxic chemicals, airborne hazards because of the type of welding that we're doing. So we got those potential hazards figured out. It is not life-threatening at this time, and we all have been trained in confined space, and we're all going to use our voice for communications. So once that's all filled out, we kind of have a summary here that we can always refer back to of what we're doing in case if a new person comes in and we need to educate them or get them up to speed if they show up late or whatever it may be. And then this is where we click here to input your air quality. So this is where we're going to throw in our readings from a 4-gas meter. And we're hoping that it's always 20.9 and then zeros across the board. And again, it sets your date and time here and save. And we can keep adding these all throughout the day and just leave this form open in your Google Chrome. And then at the end of the day, we can close it out and then we can hit submit. And that gets alerted to health and safety, and this document will live in this program and with health and safety, and we can refer back to it at a later date. So it's a really good new tool that we have. Again, it also helps streamline the system where we don't have to just rely on paper. We lose the paper, and then how are we going to have proper documentation? So this is going to be a very good handy tool for us to use moving forward, and I hope we all take advantage of it. The paper forms are going to still be available as we learn to transition into more of a digitalized form. So with that said, I'll take any questions after the meeting. Just feel free to contact me via cell 598-8107, or you can send me a text or email. But again, it's super easy. Hopefully we utilize this moving forward. With that said, I will hand it over to Ken Pigeon.
So Matt, I have a question about the forecast reading. If someone is outside of zeros on the potential hazardous conditions or not at 20.9, are they required to notify you or the safety department so that you're aware of those conditions?
Okay, that's a great point. Maybe you have to make a minor edit to this form because there is a safe range, continuous safe range outside of that. So it's really between 19.5 and 22.5.
Right.
Those are safe levels. Once you get outside of that, then the confined space shouldn't continue. And the same thing with over 35 carbon monoxide, over 10 parts per million on the hydrogen sulfide, and
Right.
over 50 on the car. Oh no, over 35. The LEL is 10%. So anything over 10% on the LEL, the confined space shouldn't continue.
Correct. But
Yeah.
my point is more that if things are outside of the standard parameters and not ranges, but if it's outside of the typical 20.9, and if it's different than 0 and 0 and 0, there's something going on there that people should be considering to a higher degree than normal.
Yes, I agree. We could add a nice little bulletin on this form regarding that to make a call if their readings are outside those safe perimeters, like you said.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hit show my screen and switch over here to the browser. Okay. So new hires, we got a list of new hires here. I'll go through them with the pictures below. And this the standard announcements, the 401k information, and also time being submitted by 8 a.m. Monday is very helpful. And paychecks are live and direct deposit stubs are sent out by regular mail now. And also, if you have any business to do at the office, at the administrative office, please call ahead to coordinate by phone first. So for new employees, we have several new employees. Here's Logan Winchester and Joe Walker Brazzi, Walter Lazars, Billy Byrne, Dan Leduc, and George Lordash. So hopefully I got everyone's names pronounced properly. Welcome to all you new employees, and hopefully everyone who working with them will help indoctrinate them into the safety protocols that we talked about and that are important for complying and to be safe out there, and also get to know everybody and welcome them aboard. And for the COVID-19 policies and information, I have a link on the email so you can download and read through anything that you have concerns or questions about. Also, you've been trained in this all these items directly by Matt. For projects this week, we're profiling the VTrans Williston STP HES 5512. That's the contract name and number for the Route 2A improvements. And this is the 2020 edition of the discussion in the project profile. We were contracted with VTrans for this 4,319-foot long section of Route 2A improvements around James Brown Drive. The work started back in the fall of 2018 and encountered pretty quickly a multi-month delay from April to about July of last year due to extensive overhead power and communication relocation work by GMP and Consolidated Communications. And then, of course, this spring we had the COVID-19 crisis, which delayed the startup even further. But finally, the work is essentially complete. So I'm sure several of you probably drive through or worked on this job, and it really is quite the improvement for that area. So our scope of work included cold planing with overlay and box cut widening of Route 2A and the James Brown Drive, installation of curb, sidewalk, drainage work, stormwater mitigation improvements, and new signage, pavement markings, landscaping, and the installation of a new traffic signal system at James Brown Drive and pedestrian flashing beacon at Bittersweet Circle. The project involves significant night work, as you see in this picture below, for the box cut widening and the paving. This is the paving operation here. The box cut was last year. They required lane closures on this busy roadway, so the work started way back in the fall of 2018. Oh, this is a repeat. I didn't delete that, sorry. So we're here in this picture applying some RS1 emulsion to give it a tacky surface for bonding the new asphalt. And then there's some rolling going on the night that I was out there visiting, and well lit up for sure. There's a couple of the rollers operating at James Brown, I believe. And there's a recent completed work with the completed sidewalk, the signal systems in place, line striping, and all the pavement. And you can see all the new shape of the ditch work, and there's a lot of under drain in there that we don't see, and culverts and all kinds of systems. So as we all know, that this is usually the top layer of the project is covering up a lot of work. So there's looking down James Brown Drive and the signal system. So perhaps some of you guys have worked at night may not have even seen this during the daytime, but this is it, and this is what it looks like. So great job. So from the photo archives, this is back, I'm thinking around 2005 or so. I didn't have a date. The location was on the Canadian National Railroad, just south of the Canadian-US border in Rouse's Point, New York. And it was a group photo. It was a pretty good sized crew. There's still some faces that are still around. And they were doing some maintenance work for the CN in the yard at Rouse's Point. So that's what I got. I'll turn it back to you, Matt. Have a safe day out there. Be careful. It's going to be hot.
Well said, Ken. Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining in. Pretty good participation. We had 47 on, plus people teaming up out there. So let's be safe and enjoy the day. Thank you.